Hello there. Hi. I've been thinking about life lately and how it affects us all, and we're all sort of in it. I was playing the organ before, and I was literally pulling out all the stops, and I realized that if we do that every day, we'll sort of wear ourselves out. So sometimes it's good to keep some of the stops in. So I hope you can take that as a little lesson about life. Think of the organ. Oh, my stomach's rumbling. Anyway, I'm back at the church, and it's an absolutely beautiful day here in South Somerset. The sun is shining, it's actually warm, it's actually like a May day ought to be. And I'm thinking of giving a few little homilies, little talks from the church to talk about life and perhaps the afterlife. And everything that really matters. Oh, I'm exhausted, I just run up the hill. Oh, I made it though, thank God for that. But what a beautiful day. They're letting us have one day of sunshine, and then I don't want to be negative, but they just said April was the hottest April on record, or one of them, in Britain. It's mad, isn't it? They think they're fooling us. They're not fooling anybody. Oh dear. Now I'm here, I don't really want to talk about some of the stuff I was thinking about. Since not having a car since nearly a year now, since last July, obviously I'm using the buses, and you do get into little chats and little conversations. You notice more about life and people, and so there's that's a positive side. It's just a shame that the bus service is like only once every 2 hours, and it stops about 6 o'clock, so you can't really go anywhere in the evenings. If it was a really good bus service, which it used to be about only 2 years ago, I think I don't know if the malarkey killed it off, because there used to be 2 bus services that you could get to Glastonbury all the way through, and they cut that one, and there was even talk. This is in this small village I live in. I'm currently in Langport, but I live a couple of miles down the road, hence getting the bus. I don't want to get a bike. I don't feel safe on the roads with the traffic that goes up there. It's just seen some pretty dodgy driving, massive tractors, massive trucks going by. Just a bit nervous. I would have done when I was younger, but I don't know. I just feel nervous on the roads like that. Even like jogging by the road on the pavement just feels a bit. Sometimes the pavements are really narrow and they come really close to you. You can feel the wind. Sometimes the wing mirror's nearly hitting you, because it's quite a narrow path. Anyway, they were actually thinking of taking the only bus service off. And obviously, there's so many older people, such as myself, in the village I live in. What else? A lot of them have cars, of course, but quite a few don't. So, where would they be able to get their shopping? I suppose they say you have it delivered. I was having it delivered because it was like £3. And I still will do that now and again for heavy stuff. But I'm really glad to have started going shopping, and then like choosing my own apples and pears as it goes, like feeling it, just giving it a good old squeeze, and looking for the dates. I'm like I'm mad for the dates. I like dates as well, the ones you eat. They're quite expensive though. I get this big packet of dates as a kind of alternative because I've cut out all the sugar now. I'm feeling a lot better. Cut out all the added sugar. I know there's a lot of fruit sugars in dates, but anyway, I'll slow down. We're in a church. Got to be a lot going on Twitter today about the announcement. It's just a controlled announcement from AstraZeneca, isn't it? Saying, oh, well, yeah, there was very rare problems. Some people say it's a controlled, what do you call it, revelation, or a way of like staving off the obvious. Why they're just choosing that one and not the obvious other big ones. Oh God, it's such an awful. I don't want to be negative, but it's got to come out. It's not negative. For the truth to come out isn't negative. It's necessary, isn't it? To want the truth to stay hidden when people have suffered so much and are continuing to suffer. I hear a lot of anecdotal things from other parts of the country and from Wales, but you could say they're anecdotes, but you get so many anecdotes saying the same thing. People saying that they've lost so many people in last couple of years, and people are very ill, are suddenly developing problems, and it all adds up together, doesn't it, really? I mean, that's what journalism used to be for, to bring these stories out, I mean, it wouldn't need much. You wouldn't need to be like a dogged, intrepid sort of genius of a journalist to work it out, because everyone's worked it out. Everyone's worked it out already. The extent of it, I mean, there's estimates, of course, but anyway, it's not that it's negative, it's horrific. We've got to keep focusing on some good stuff as well. So they've obviously not done the spraying, so they've given us a proper nice day. Thank you, Governor. Thanks very much. Yeah. Give us a lovely mate, and then they'll take it away again. I've said this conversations I've had that all this is like, it's exactly the same pattern as the abusive partner or the abusive employer, the abusive anyone that's in your life, that it's the same technique, and that's what they did all the way through, were techniques of abuse, constant gaslighting, as they're still doing. But as with that other issue I was talking about, my personal problem with threats and things going on, all these agencies around, it's the same MO. The gaslighting is not happening, the minimising. There was a bit I missed out. I was talking about the police being in my kitchen. There was a bit towards the end, they started getting very sort of concerned about my mental health, about what I might do, what I might not do, how would I do it. You can see the strategies, you can sense them. They don't want to act, they don't want to uphold the law, so they've got to focus it onto you, It's about your mental health. I tried to keep calm, and I did keep calm about it, and I kind of questioned them. I said, well, it's not about me. I can't remember what I said, actually. I think I was probably looking a bit puzzled about the change of tack. Well, I said it's obviously affecting me. It has affected me greatly in terms of anxiety, and if you're being threatened with violence for a long time, it gets to you. But I'm using different strategies now. I'm just checking to see if no one's come in. I don't want to. If somebody wants to sit here quietly, then I'll stop rabbiting. Anyway, the policemen, or both of them in the end, they start going, well, what would you do? How do you think you'll react? And he gave an example. He said, would you drop to the floor and kind of like do that? Well, I suppose it's possible. It's possible, isn't it? Especially if there's like a nuclear conflict coming. Drop to the floor, get under a desk, get under the bed. Even though my bed's on the floor, it's like a mattress on the floor. So get under that and take a packet of malted milk with you, and it's mad, isn't it? It's this idea. They tried that with the weather. There was an article came out and it said, if you think April is all cold, it's colder than it should be, and it's raining all the time, and it's that white grey sky all the time, then it could all be in your head. That's what the headline said in some ghastly trash piece of mainstream hideousness. It could all be in your head. It's surrounded. This is the gaslighting, isn't it? The abuse, the psychopathic abuse, the narcissistic abuse. It is endemic. It is the culture, unfortunately, the dominant culture in terms of the structures of power all over the world, really. I watched a little video of Füllmilch, the German guy who wanted to do the Nuremberg 2.0. He's been in prison for about 6 months. They arrested him. I'd only heard that yesterday because I hadn't been keeping up with that. Rainer Füllmich. Der Rainer Füllmich is in Gefängnis. They got him in Chokey. He says it's like it's all constructed thing because of what he was bringing out. and wanting to set up these international courts to bring people to justice. So yeah, I can well believe that. At the time, I remember the story coming out that he'd like misappropriated funds that were sent to him and spent it on his house or something, but he says that's all not true. It was just all a story in order to discredit him, to bring him down, because he was bringing out all this stuff. Apparently more things are happening in Germany. There's more awareness, more people are... You can't hide a crime as big as this. You can't hide it, which is where they, what do they do? What's they call? They pivot. Horrible, well, not a horrible phrase, but it's just a kind of a buzz phrase. They're pivoting to war. They pivot to war, so they're killing all these people. Probably millions, probably many millions already, and then they pivot to war, to kill more. It does make you wonder about the so-called Spanish flu. That was obviously the reverse of that. It was war, then it was pestilence. But they pivot to another one of the four horses of the apocalypse. Famine is always on the cards with this affect the weather. What are the four horses of the apocalypse? It's like war, pestilence, what was the other one? Famine, and there's another one. Can't think what the other one is. I think there are four horses, isn't there? But yeah, they pivot to the horse, the pale horse. Was it the pale horse? I've seen a pale horse riding, and its name is Death. The Revelations, isn't it? But yeah, I'm rabbiting on about all kinds of stuff now. More people are talking, I just saw there was a lady, hadn't been aware of her. She's like walking her dog down this country lane, quite a wet day. She's obviously just, I don't want to say like ordinary people, but they're just people that you'd see in the street. You wouldn't think they're thinking about this kind of stuff, but why wouldn't they be? But a lot of people it's like a blue touch paper thing. Once it's lit, once you've gone a certain way into it, then everything's up for grabs then, and it's a kind of hunger, and you're on a fast track to realising how insane and evil everything is actually, in terms of the power structures, and the lies. But where does that end? What is it we haven't been lied to about? What is it we haven't? And how would we know? How would we ever know? On one level, I find it depressing because I think, well, I'd like there to be some reliability, like, say, in history. Another level is that it opens it all up for a new kind of discovery, for potentially, and a new kind of awareness and awakening, a new consciousness to grow and to take root. So that's the positive side of it. Once you get over the idea, you can't necessarily rely on any so-called self-proclaimed or other proclaimed experts at all. As the motto of the Royal Society has it, nullius in verba, nothing by word alone. It's tricky to take that at its full value in every aspect of life, isn't it? We're assuming that people that are qualified in certain things can do them, and in terms of safety aspects, but that's up for grabs now, clearly, in terms of the medical profession. It has to be. But but if you break your arm, or you was in an accident or something like that, can stop bleeding, you would need someone with some technical skills to help you. Perhaps the how do you put it? Perhaps the difference is to do with perhaps other types of conditions that we don't know really whether what they're doing in this allopathic model, so-called, as opposed to homeopathic. It might look good on the tin, it might sound good, and it's the dominant so-called Western medicine model, but could it be very harmful, as clearly some, if not all, of these vaccinations are? I mean, for other things, flu things, for example. What's going on with that? There's so much, really, and sometimes it can crowd your head, and you've got to kind of empty it, haven't you? You can't have a go on the old organ, pull out all the stops, give the old Wurlitzer treatment. So I'm in All Saints here in Langport, which is lovely. Nobody's ever here. Where are the faithful? But I was in the other church, St Andrew's, in the village I live in, and I met this lovely lady, Dottie. I've seen her there before. She'd left me some piano music because she knew I was trying to learn a few little bits, and she left it months ago, and I picked it up. I left her a note because she practices the organ there, and she's very good. And she says to me on a number of occasions, I only started playing when I was 70, I think like 73 or 74. So she's a little bit older than that now. She's absolutely full of vitality and vibrancy and love for music. I was in there the other day and she said, would you like to play Edelweiss? That might be one for you. And I said, yeah. And then she was playing it off this school on the organ in St Andrews and singing along. And then I joined in singing a bit in the background. And it was very funny and it was charming and lovely, So you get these little oases of... I had a nice chat with a lady on the bus stop waiting for the bus. On the other side, going to Taunton, I crossed over and had a chat with her, and we were talking about buses as the obvious subject to start with, But it gets onto other things a little bit. So there's more interactions. There was quite a young lady on the bus who gave this absolutely angelic smile as I got up, went past the seats. Just a very, I think maybe I had the notion, like with the guy with the dog from a couple of weeks ago. I met this guy with a dog, and he was had a nice little chat with him, and the dog was very calming. It was on the floor. I can't remember its name. I had this notion that there are quite a lot of angels about, and they're just placed here and there. They're just placed, or maybe angelic energy comes through them, and you experience it. Or maybe they are actual angels and they're just kind of like you'd cast them in a scene. They're just placed there. They're on the bus here. They're waiting at the bus here. They're in a shop. They're walking down the road. So they're angels, and they're demons. There definitely are demons. But there also are angels. And you never know when you're going to meet one, and the interaction could be very small in terms of time. It could just be passing them and feeling that positive lift. They don't even have to look at you, or you look at them, but you're aware of them. And then the contrary holds true as well, that the devils are there. What does it say in Shakespeare? Hell is empty, for all the devils are here, or something like that. Hell is empty and all the devils are here. That's the title of a book by a guy, I can't remember his name, I've got to get that book. It's called All the Devils Are Here, I think. I think it's about stories about Margate and the seaside town and this kind of underworld of darkness, really, and creepy sort of weird offbeat stories around Margate and that kind of area, I think. I must think of his name. I always wanted to read that book because I read another book of his called, oh God, I've forgotten. But it's about these terrible murders that happened in the late 50s, early 60s. And this killer was, crassly named Jack the Stripper because there was a series of 5 female victims that were found naked. I'll have to remember the name of that book. He only wrote a few books, this guy, whose name I can't remember. But you'd be able to, if you looked up All the Devils Are Here, you might be able to find him and see that it's about seaside stories. He died quite young, I'm not sure why. He seemed to quite an interesting tale in itself. And I watched a documentary this morning about the last days of Jim Morrison, which was a French-made documentary. It's quite interesting. I find these foreign-made documentaries, like with subtitles or a dub over, I prefer them to the British ones or American. Different sensibility, like there is in their filmmaking, My stomach's rumbling. I don't know why I had lunch before I came. Anyway, I've been rabbiting on about all kinds of stuff, but I'll tune up the old organ there, and I'll play something like, what shall I play? Good Night Vienna. Anyway, God bless, and take it easy out there. It's a very strange world, but things. It's not all bad, is it? I mean, there's definite new, fresh vistas out there of thought and of ways to live, that to perhaps get under the yoke of some of these false ideas that we've been under, inculcated into us from all kinds of sources, politicians, media, writers of different kinds, unfortunately. So it can be a really exciting juncture in humanity. Well, it is. It's kind of that kind of backhanded, not compliment, but that phrase, the so-called Chinese curse of saying, "May you live in interesting times." I believe that's where it stems from. May you live in interesting times, i.e., times of turmoil. So it's kind of a curse, but it's not just one thing. It's not just the revelation of the method and the revelation of the darkness, not to coin a phrase, borrow a phrase from Hoffman, this guy, Michael Hoffman. It's not just revelation of the method, it's also revelation of this multiplicity of solutions. Anyway, I'll stop rabbiting. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.